Let's begin with a live look outside this morning over downtown Denver. Beautiful start to the day with temperatures already climbing into the upper 40s, and we do have a warm day on tap, a warm weekend ahead, and overall a fairly nice week ahead of us. Good morning, I'm Evan Krugel. Thanks so much for joining us here at 8 o'clock. Let's get a check of your forecast with Weather Impact Team meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Chris, warm weather today, but there are some storm chances out there.
Yes, there are, especially between about 2 and 7 p.m. for the metro area and the mountains. It's going to be a stormy day in the high country, so if you have outdoor activities that you want to get done in the mountains, get them done this morning, because this afternoon, multiple waves of storms on the way for my friends in the higher elevations. Fort Morgan looking a little ominous there, but more bark than bite with those clouds out there in Morgan County, northeastern Colorado. Low to mid 50s right now in the metro area. We're heading into the upper 70s later today. We're going to make a run at 80 degrees. So comfortable weather in terms of those temperatures, but we will have some storms to talk about this afternoon. A little bit of snow activity in the highest elevations here in the San Juans, the West Elks, and the Sangre Cristos. Hardly anything, though, coming from that. There's a lot more, just really not much coming from that at this point. But later today, we will see those showers and storms develop. You might notice those little green dots kind of appear and then disappear. These are Virga rain showers, or dry microbursts, right? You get that rain that'll fall from the sky, but it mostly evaporates before it hits the ground. The result is you get a lot of wind. So wind is going to be the big concern between 2 and 7 p.m. along and east of I-25, including Denver this afternoon. I'll have details on that and a look at that 7-day forecast, which does have 2 chances for rain after today. I'll tell you about that in a few minutes.
Crossing our fingers. Thanks, Chris. The Boulder County Sheriff's Office is asking for help identifying a woman who was critically hurt in a lightning strike. Someone found her unconscious on a walking path behind LaSalle Street on Thursday. Investigators say she's a white woman who's about 20 to 30 years old. She's 5'5", weighs about 120 pounds, and has red or auburn hair and 3 butterfly tattoos on her upper right arm. She was wearing running clothes when she was found. Investigators are asking people in that area to check their security camera footage between the hours of 4:30 and 5 p.m. on Thursday.
If we're able to get a photograph of her through that security camera, that would be really good in order to show the public. We need a photograph of her prior to the incident so we could send that out to the public.
The sheriff's office says they ran her prints but didn't get any hits back, and she was not carrying any ID. Her cell phone was badly damaged in the lightning strike. Their forensics lab is trying to get some information off of that phone, but they say that could take some time. If you know who she is or might be, or if you have surveillance video, please call the sheriff's office. A hotel and nightclub in downtown Denver is being forced to close. City officials say native Hotel and Gatsby Social on Wazi has been operating under dangerous conditions for months. Now all of their licenses are being suspended and they're being told to close up shop. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez breaks down that situation.
According to the summary suspension ordered by the Denver Department of Licensing and Consumer Protection, the Denver Fire Department had been flagging this building for fire code violations since early last year. In the suspension order, a February inspection revealed just how serious things had gotten. Inspectors found a fire alarm that wasn't being monitored, blocked exits, fire doors propped open, and problems with the sprinkler system. The city ordered the building shut down immediately while the owner was given time to make corrections. On March 6th, inspectors went back and cited him with 847 violations of fire code. Documents say by late March, critical violations remained unresolved and the stop work order was back in full effect. But this past weekend, police say the bar was open anyway. The summary suspension says that same weekend, police responded to 2 violent incidents outside the bar, including a man who returned with a gun after being removed. Today, the city had enough and all 4 licenses were suspended effective immediately.
That was Colton Chavez reporting. The owner was formally notified of the suspension yesterday. A formal hearing will follow to determine whether these licenses will be permanently revoked. Aurora Police says an officer who was stabbed in the head on Thursday is in good spirits as he recovers at the hospital. According to police, a man experiencing a mental health crisis stabbed the officer. That officer then shot and killed that man. This happened east of Cherry Creek State Park near Quincy and Parker. Police say the officer underwent surgery on Thursday. He's now awake and talking. The officer's canine was also stabbed. That dog had to get stitches and spent the night at the vet before being released yesterday. The union that represents workers at the JBS meatpacking plant in Greeley says it's reached an agreement with the company on a new contract. Roughly 3,800 employees walked off the job last month. They returned this past Tuesday with no deal, but they did have bargaining sessions scheduled and ended up coming to an agreement. We are waiting to hear more about the details of that agreement. JBS said its final offer was not changing. Workers will need to vote on whether to ratify it. That vote is scheduled for tomorrow. The state of Maryland has reached an agreement with the operators of the cargo ship that crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. You may recall this happened more than 2 years ago in March of 2024 in Baltimore. The crash destroyed the bridge and killed 6 construction workers who were on it at the time. Multiple state agencies brought claims against the owner of that container ship, which was called the Dolly. Those claims have now been settled, though no details about that agreement are known. The Dolly's owners say they also reached a deal with the company that insured the bridge. Investigators determined the accident was preventable. Iranian leaders have arrived in Pakistan for the high-stakes ceasefire talks between the U.S. and Iran. This comes while President Trump continues to amp up pressure. President Trump posted saying Tehran has, quote, no cards other than short-term extortion with the Strait of Hormuz. In an interview with the New York Post, Trump warned that if a peace deal isn't reached with Iran, the United States will resume its military actions with even more intensity, saying, quote, we're loading up the ships with the best ammunition. It comes at the same time as prices at the pump continue to rise. Denver South High School is marking a major milestone, 100 years at its current home. The school first opened its doors in January of 1926. It was built to relieve overcrowding as Denver's population grew. The Alumni Museum in the basement now holds yearbooks, photos, and artifacts from every decade of the school's history. This weekend, South will hold its centennial celebration at the school, featuring architectural tours, guest alumni speakers, and a community open house.
I would love people to be here, experience South, walk the halls as people have for the last 100 years, and know that the closer that you look at the fine details of the building itself, the more inspired you are to be here.
Quite a bit of history. Our own Byron Reed gave us a sneak peek of the school's Alumni Museum, where 100 years of history now hangs on the walls. You can see that full story on 9news.com. The U.S. fertility rate is at a record low. New CDC statistics indicate about 3.6 million babies were born last year. That rate is down about 1% from 2024 and down roughly 20% from 20 years ago. American women also are waiting longer to have children. A decline in the fertility rate can affect the economy in the long term. The Trump administration has been using policies to try to encourage more people to have children. Well, have you ever wondered if putting a ring on it could have health benefits? A new study suggests that marriage may be linked to a lower risk of cancer. There is growing research that finds men and women who have never been married may be at a higher risk. The study finds the risk for women in that group is 83% higher, and for unmarried men, it's 68% higher. However, those risks depend on the type of cancer and other factors. For example, women who have never given birth are at a higher risk of ovarian cancers.